Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a great day. It's beautiful outside. Well, it looks beautiful outside. I have not gone outside yet. I thought, when we think about the stories in the Bible with water, we often think about, Noah and the ark. We think about maybe when Jesus was baptized with water. But there are really a lot of other stories in the Bible that have water in them. One of the stories is Jonah and the whale, and maybe you've heard of that story, but maybe we don't know that much about it. So I thought we would spend a couple of weeks and maybe talk about it a little bit and get some idea about, what is Jonah and the whale? Maybe you know that somehow Jonah ended up in the belly of a whale, but why and how did that happen, and then what happened after that? So we're going to start a little bit, okay? And I'm going to show you some pictures. The first picture here is of this man named Jonah, okay? And so what happened was that there was this town called Nineveh, and the people in Nineveh were not very good people. They had a habit of being bad, and they weren't very faithful to God and what God asked them to do. And so God said to Jonah, hey, would you go to Nineveh for me? I know, Jonah, you're a good man, that you could get through to these people. So God says to Jonah, go to Nineveh. But I don't know about you, but sometimes when God speaks to me, I have to be honest, I don't always listen. Or when my parents listen or talking to me, I might not always listen. And so Jonah says, I'm not going to go to Nineveh. Jonah says, I'm going to hide from God, and instead, I'm going to go to Tarshish. And so Jonah dislikes Nineveh because of the fact that there are bad people there, and he just doesn't want to be part of that crowd. And he says, you know what? If I go to Tarshish, God is not going to be able to find me. And I know that, when I was probably around some of your age, and my parents had chores for me to do, I thought, if I go hide, I don't have to get those chores done. Somebody else can do it. And that's kind of like the same thing with that, what's happening with God and Jonah. Jonah thought, you know what? I can just hide. So I'm going to leave our story right there for you to think about. What do you think is going to happen next? Okay? Do you remember, where did God ask Jonah to go? Yeah, Nineveh. But Jonah said, I'm going to go to Tarshish. So later this week, I'll take some time with you and we'll do maybe a craft or something like that to think about the story. How many of you have some goldfish at home? Those would be a great snack all week to have. And every time you could think about, what's the next part of that story that Miss Louise is telling us? So think about what's going to happen, and we'll talk about what happens next in our story next week. Peace, everyone.